Everybody wants to know what a good deal on the market is, but the problem is everybody has a different answer. Should you go for invoice minus holdback, or should you ask for floor plan assistance? The options are limited. Here at Delivered, we negotiate car deals for a living, and we deal with over 150 car deals on a monthly basis. So we have a unique data set to tell you what dealerships are actually negotiating car deals with deals that we've done personally. So let's talk about all the top BMW deals that you can negotiate if you're buying a car in the beginning of the year. We're gonna start off with sedans. Let's go into the 2 Series first. Now with BMW, you're gonna get options overloaded. So understand that every vehicle is gonna be a little bit different. I'm gonna try to go through the 2 Series and then I'm gonna go through the M cars. So understand that these are gonna have completely different markets. Let's first start off with the 2 Series. That is something you can very typically get off. Now discounts are gonna be a little bit less on anything with an M on it. M2 Coupe, for example, that is going to be closer to a 3 to 6% discount, while the M240s are going to be able to get you close to about a 6 to 7% discount. Now moving on to the next model here, we're going to move on to the 3 Series and 4 Series are going to be the same for the sedans. We should expect discounts between 5 to 8% on these cars if they are not an M model. Now M340i's and M440i's, you should expect around a 7%. Now with an M3, this is one of the most popular sports sedans in the world right now, and discounts are a lot lower than its counterpart in the M4. If we're looking at an M3, discounts are going to be right around 3%. You won't see much more than that. Some people can get around 4 to 5, but we typically see 3%, but getting an allocation is one of the hardest parts. In M4, discounts vary. If you're getting a convertible, 10% off is very attainable. If you're getting a hardtop, 7 to 9% is going to be more attainable. Next thing here is a BMW, the Grand Coupe. If you're getting a 4 Series Grand Coupe, which is just a bigger 3 Series, understand discounts are going to be closer to 5% than anything else. Looking at the 5 Series, now looking at the, first off, the 530, all of them, 540, all the same, you should be able to get close to 10% off. Now looking at any BMW, one of the cool things about BMW, especially in the world of all German cars, is a lot of people like to lease these vehicles. So if you're looking to lease one of these vehicles, do not be afraid to ask for lease deals and look for demo deals, because some of the deals we've done is incredible. We did 20% off a 5 Series, for example, on a lease we just completed yesterday. So understand, you're doing a lease, the deals are out of this world and the payments can be super cheap. The payments were close to $600 a month on a $70,000 car. Now, if you're looking for the M5, this is the brand new redesigned car. Some people call it a little bit of a chunky boy, but when it comes down to this car, MSRP is the current market, but I expect this market to crash. I don't think people are buying these in droves. It's just too heavy. You don't get that authentic M car that you felt because of the weight, and being a plug-in hybrid, the enthusiasts don't love it. When it comes down to it, I expect some serious discounts on this car, but right now MSRP of the market, but if you can wait on an M5, you should, because the market will definitely crash. 7 Series are both some of the most comfortable vehicles you'll ever drive, and when it comes down to the 740i, 10% off all day. If you're getting a demo, close to 20% all day. If you're looking for anything high performance, 10% is still the expectation. I would not take any less than this on a 7 Series. These cars are very highly priced. You can see $122,000 on an X-Drive starting MSRP. So some of these things can get insane. Looking at the 8 Series, first off, we're looking for the 8 Series. This design is a little outdated. They haven't renewed this. I know the 2024, so let me just double check the 2025s, make sure I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy with the 2024s, right? 2025s. Let me double check this. Let me just see the inside. Yeah. So this is the old infotainment center that they used to have. This is a really outdated design. Demo deals on these cars are incredible. They're really fun to drive. I just don't love the interior. I think this car gets renewed next year and I think it'll be great. But when it comes down to it, 7 to 10% all day. You should really be trying to achieve that 10% range. Now, M850i's are great leasing cars. They lease really, really well. 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds. It's a huge vehicle. Honestly, super comfortable, super great design if you're willing to do an outdated car. That being said, if you can find a demo deal, these things are just sitting on dealership lots. People cannot get rid of them. So understand 20% is definitely achievable on these M850i demos. Z4 or the Z4. These cars are a little bit of a mixed bag. BMW, they did not sell as well as people think. Surprisingly, if I was to buy this car, I would probably just buy a demo straight up because I just think it's the best value. But you can easily get 7 to 9% off this car pretty darn consistently. When it comes down to it, these are great to drive. It's funny because years, BMW and Toyota made the Supra. It's such a hot seller. And we didn't see the same thing with the Z4. People are not lining up for this car like they are the Supra. So when it comes down to it, if you're looking for just a fun sports car to throw around, these BMWs are blast, especially the M40i. Let's go into the SUVs here. Now, BMW is doing something a little bit weird with their SUV lineup. They're going with small SUV into coupe, slightly smaller, bigger SUV into coupe, and then slightly bigger SUV into coupe. I don't understand it. It's just too much market diversity, and I expect some of these models to be discontinued. Let's get into it. First off, the X1 is still a very popular model. The X2 is stealing some of its sales, so discounts are better than they were last year. 5 to 6% is what you were seeing pretty consistently last year. We can now get closer to that 7 to 8% off on this car, even if it's an M40 or M40, M50, M50, M40, M50. Sorry guys, sometimes I forget the exact one, so you guys can all make fun of me in chat. M35i. M35i still gets 7 to 8% off pretty darn consistently. Now the X2. Now the X2 is fully new as of last year, fully redesigned. It's basically an X1 with a coupe, so basically meant to be a little bit more sporty. These became very, very popular in the last 5 years. Mercedes doing it, BMW's doing it, and you lose a little cargo space, but you get a sportier design. But what you don't gain is bigger discounts. This car is still not discounting as well as people would hope. They're really hard to get. BMW is manufacturing this in limited supply, hoping it holds value. 5 to 7% is pretty consistent on both of these cars. You might be able to try a little bit more depending on the area. In the Northeast, these cars sell a little bit better than if you're in Florida, for example. So understand there's definitely markets to be had here. Now the BMW X3, also fully redesigned. Now, if you're looking for a really, really crazy lease deal, if you can find a 2024 X3, you can get well under a 1% lease. And a 1% lease is under 1% of MSRP. But they're only demos and there are not many still left because most people already grabbed them. X3s though, the front end, you either love it or hate it. And that's what's causing this car to discount really quick. Honestly, the interior is great. This is one of the best valued SUVs on the market. 10% off is what we achieve here every single time here delivered. I don't think there has been a time in the last 30 days where we haven't gotten under 10%, but 10% is a very good guideline. And that's everywhere in the country. If you're in California, if you're in the Northeast, if you're in Florida, it does not matter. The deals are about the same here. Now the X4, this car is another one of these cars that are getting discontinued. Honestly, one of my favorite cars in BMW's lineup, but they're turning this into an electric car. So a lot of people are going to argue that this car is going to hold its value. Don't fall for that. Realistically, these coupe cars are going to hold their value pretty well, but this is not going to become a collector's car. Realistically, 7 to 8% is what we achieve on almost all of the models here. That's pretty consistent, and that's going to stay the same as this model starts to get discontinued over the next year. Understand the discounts are going to get slimmer and slimmer as inventory starts to dwindle, but understand that this is a car that you can achieve. Speaking of all BMWs, understand that BMW is not like Toyota or Lexus where you can order the perfect car. And some of these cars only take 4 to 6 weeks to get the perfect vehicle. If you're ever looking for a BMW, understand that you can negotiate on an order as well and get exactly what you want. Now, if the car is being built in Germany, then that can take months to get to you. But if the car is being built in the United States, there are plenty of deals to be had and you can get the exact car you want. Looking at the X5, honestly, I will stand by this. This is one of my favorite SUVs in the market. I think this car may be my favorite SUV in the market. It mixes performance, luxury, and really value. And I know a lot of people are going to freak out because we're talking about a $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 SUV, but I think this car competes with the Cayenne, which has a $20,000 higher price tag. So when it comes down to it, if you're looking for a luxury SUV, I don't think there's anything better. The X5 is phenomenal. It doesn't matter which way you go. You can go with an X5 M60, you can go with an X5 Comp, you can go with an X5 50e. I think every car in its lineup is the best. I think it has the best plug-in hybrid for luxury, the best performance SUV in the market. They all are bam, 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 especially for the price point. Now, with this car, we typically get 7 to 10% off on these cars. That being said, the market is a little tight. A lot of people buy these cars at the end of the year for tax reasons. The inventory is slim right now. It's not a bad idea to wait another 30 to 60 days if you want the truly best deals on these cars. 10% is what we're doing before. Right now, the market is dictating around 7 to 8%. But understand you can get 10%. On the West Coast, we're still getting 10% all day. If we're on the East Coast, we're getting closer to that 7 to 8% range. Now, if you're on the X5 Comp, deals definitely slim down on those cars. Understand the performance versions do not give as crazy of discounts as the gas models. Now, the 50E, the plug-in hybrid, this is a unique car because there was once upon a time MSRP used to be a good deal, and that was like 6 months ago. So that wasn't that long ago. Nowadays, the discounts are pretty plentiful here. We just did an order on one of these cars and got 8.5% off. So understand there are plenty of deals on 50Es as well. Okay, now again, we're going through it. X5, now X6 is the coupe. As you can see, it looks sporty, it looks cool. You lose a little trunk room. This is just meant to be a sportier car. Again, limited design, so the discounts are supposed to be limited. As of right now, we're seeing discounts around 5 to 7%. It's pretty darn consistent. You can sometimes get a little bit more on there, but not as of this market here. A lot of people, again, buy these cars for tax purposes, so inventory is slim, allocations are slim. This will pick up, but 5 to 7% is what we should expect on this car. Now, moving into one of the best third row SUVs is going to be the BMW X7. Beautiful, gorgeous, great SUV that you can clearly see pictures of. We're still getting 10% off these all day. That market hasn't changed. If a lot of people are going for the X5 versus the X7, realistically, the third row room is basically non-existent unless you have a small child back there. But the car is beautifully designed. It drives great, it's super comfortable, and dollar for dollar, you're looking for a smaller third row SUV. It's hard to beat a luxury SUV like this. No, it's not the size of a Suburban. No, it's not the size of a Tahoe. But if you're looking for a car that has great luxury, great performance, and honestly, I know I'm gonna get some flack about it, but BMW has been topping the charts month after month after month, year after year in reliability over the last 5 years. They're some of the most reliable cars on the market now. And I know somebody's gonna be like,
it's a BMW, they're not reliable.
I'm sorry, this is not 2010 anymore. BMWs have become more and more reliable, and technology scares everybody, but it scares you on a RAV4 XSE just like it scares you on an X5. So understand this technology can be scary, but it's scary in all cars because manufacturers' technology is all made very similar, other than Kia. That was a joke. That's what we call a funsy in the business. Okay, let's go to the electric lineup. BMW i6. This car, ugly in the front. I mean, this is like bucktooth car, but it's one of the best luxury EVs driving experience in the world. It is. If you've driven one, you understand it. The lease deals, they say they're deals, but they're not that great. I want to get into some lease specials today too. I want to talk about some lease specials, but understand that you're probably going to spend $1,000 or under a month, which for an EV seems really high, but the driving experience is great on these cars. They're really, really comfortable on the inside. The front end you either love or hate, and you probably hate it. But when it comes down to it, the interior is great. It's comfortable, it drives really well, and it's really hard to beat the value of what you're getting there for the driving experience. But I understand not everybody's going to like bucktooth, and I get it. It has a face only a mother can love. Easily 10% off plus rebates. And anytime we're talking about any of these discounts, understand we're always talking about discount plus rebates with no dealership add-ons. So if there's a $2,000 financing rebate, you are getting that discount as well. Now, BMW is typically 7 to 10%. The market slowly is a little bit slimmer right now due to inventory. That will pick up. We'll be getting back to 10% very, very soon. And there's still markets that you can get 10%, but it's much harder to get 10% now than it was 30 days ago. Now, looking at the rest of the electric lineup, I'm going to put these all in the same boat. The i4, the i5, and the i7. Honestly, I would never purchase these cars. I would only lease these cars because when it comes down to it, EV technology is advancing so quickly. People do not realize how quickly that EV technology is going. And if you buy an EV, depreciation will hit you upside the head. So when it comes down to it, you don't want to deal with it. So if you're buying an EV, you want to lease these cars. These cars actually lease really well. A lot of dealerships have demo deals. I know somebody asked me what those demo deals are. Demo deals are going to be dealership cars that were owned by the dealership. Maybe they were used as a loaner. Maybe they were used by a manager that drove it around, and they're discounted steeply because of this. So if you're buying an i4, i5, or i7, lease, lease, lease. The XM, nobody's buying this car. Honestly, because it's super expensive. It's like $155,000, I think, starting at $160,000. You can get like $40,000, $50,000 off some of these cars with rebates. It's insane. I mean, they're good, they're fine, they're heavy. The biggest problem with this car actually has nothing to do with the car itself. Funny enough, it has a problem with the wheels. These 23-inch wheels are some of the harshest wheels to drive on. If BMW actually just changed the wheels, this car would do way better. And somebody said the XM is not doing well. They're giving $40,000 to $50,000 discounts. They're not selling as well as they want them to, and a big experience is the wheels. But if they would just give you the option to give different wheels, I promise you this would be a way different vehicle. I think that's everything. Did we go through everything? BMW? Done? It surprises me if any XM sell. These are the BMW deals now. Deals change from month to month, so understand that. January might be different than February, and January is definitely different than it is from December. So if you want to get these updates every single month, make sure you follow the channel, like, follow, subscribe. Have a great day.